Okay, the boys and I are on our way to the Firewood Frenzy. They got their donuts back there. And we are on our way. About 2.5 hours, we'll be there. So, we'll see you when we get there. We made it up here just in time for the whole group to go do the factory tour. But we've checked a couple things out, and the boys got pretty awesome gift baskets or gift bags from Wolfridge. That was pretty cool. They're having a blast. Hi everybody, welcome back to Shotlet Family Firewood. Yesterday we ran up to the Midwest Firewood Frenzy and had a good time. I gotta thank Wolfridge Manufacturing and Chris and his wife. The gift pack for the kids were a hit. They've been playing with them all day today already, and we truly appreciate that. We met some cool people up there, saw some cool new splitters and stuff, and got us fired up to get back here and work on what we have going on. So with that being said, I will show you what we were up to this week, and then we're gonna get going on stacking this trailer load of maple. So Brody's been asking all day to fill these cages, so we're gonna get going with that, and that's really, I think, all we're gonna have this week. So we'll all right everybody, from the last time we split, you know how big the pile of rounds was. We split again, so we're down to a relatively small pile of rounds left, a couple of here, and all the big ones I had cut up that were firewood length are gone. I brought a few more over to cut up. Haven't got to that yet, as been a little sick. And then we went to the we went to the Frenzy, and now we're out here. We got storms, pretty bad storms yesterday on the way home from the Frenzy, and luckily we were missed by tornadoes again, a little farther this time, but Janesville, about 14 or 15 minutes away in a direct line from us, got hit, and Argyle, 20-25 minutes to the west of us, got hit. It was just pure luck that we didn't. But anyway, so it's a muddy mess out here today. We had to clean the pigs and brought the skid loader down here and made some tracks, and so we don't want to do that anymore. What we're going to do is we're going to stack up this nice beautiful load of maple firewood. So we've been dragging the totes over. Yep, we'll get one more. Brody's been helping me. We've been getting the totes drug over by hand, and we have to get the bladders out and get them cut open as we do it. So we've been doing that, and I'm telling you, this maple firewood is just truly beautiful stuff. So needs some time to dry, but we'll get this stacked up eventually here today maybe, so stick around. So the trailer is typically over a cord, so we need 4 baskets. We need 4 baskets to load into, and I know most people say you're wasting your time stacking. And yeah, maybe a little bit you are, but you got to load it by hand one way or another, unless you have concrete, and I don't have concrete to scoop it up on. So you got to load it by hand one way or another. And I find that once I get it stacked in here, not only is it measured, but I can just load these totes into my truck rather than having to toss it by hand into my truck. So I don't think we're wasting as much time as some people think or whatever, but it does take some time. But again, I feel like you gotta handle it by hand, and it's a lot easier to get a whole armful off of a stack than it is to try and get a whole armful when it's all loose like that, just in my opinion. So if I can do that where I only have to turn around and move a foot or two, rather than trying to do that to get into a truck that might not be able to get as close or something, I think I'm going to take advantage of it. So that's the reason I continue to stack. But I have the luxury of having a skid loader that can lift a full basket and not have to ever actually load or unload them by hand anymore. So I unload them by hand, but that's when I'm doing smaller quantities at the stands and stuff. So I'll just take a basket. Currently I'm still using to fill my stands and stuff, I'm still using off of the racks there. But what I do is I fill a basket, and then I'll take the basket, set it in my truck, and take it around to all the stands. And then once I'm done with what's on the old pallets, then all I'll have to do is grab these and load them in the truck to take them in. So that's my theory on it, and we're gonna get started here. Alright, so that's one tote, and with Brody helping, in quotes, that took about 30 minutes. I can do it faster, but obviously with Brody helping. So yeah, it does take a little extra time, but it's not as much extra time as everybody thinks, in my opinion. Because now I don't have to handle it again. I can just set that in the back of my truck. I'm delivering a third of a cord, or I'm going to my firewood stands, and I only have to unload it by hand. I don't have to load it in the truck by hand, and then God forbid you get to the stands and you have a bunch loose left over in your truck, then you gotta load it and unload it and unload it and load it, and at least we don't have to do that. So we're gonna keep going here. We got quite a bit in the trailer left to stack, and there's a pile of slash in here from the last load yet. I didn't clean it out, so that's getting filled up a little bit, so my reach is a little longer than I typically like, but that's all right. So anyway, we'll get back to work. All right, number 2 went a little faster. Not exactly sure of the time, but it was less than 30. I just don't remember what I saw in there. We got a decent amount left. Definitely feel at least another one. But I promised Brody we'd go ride the 4-wheeler, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna go ride the 4-wheeler for a little bit, and we'll see when we get back to this. If not tonight, that's gonna be all I have. So hopefully we'll get back to it later tonight. But if we don't, I truly appreciate watching. Had a great time meeting everybody at Wolf Ridge yesterday. That was great. And I look forward to meeting you at the next one. See you later.